Oh, come on, y'all. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right. So I came this afternoon to talk to you, about us. So this is our work. You've heard the historical and personal articulations of what good and necessary work, courage, leadership look like around what we refer to as the civil rights movement of the 1960s. What I would like for all of us to think about today as a community is the reality that civil rights advocacy, the quest to make the lives of those of us around us better, is a long-standing practice in the United States. So we know that chattel slaves and indentured persons started the fight for freedom and equal rights long before the fight for human equity for African Americans was understood as a fight for civil rights. So I'm asking you this afternoon to think about that work, the fight for human equity, as a continuum. We have enough anthropological and historical evidence that there is no real start and certainly no ending of the work that is civil rights and human equity. And I ask that we really focus on the question, who is human? Who is human when we're thinking about this ongoing struggle? I had the honor in the last couple of weeks of visiting the Smithsonian Museum of African American History and Culture. I went twice, a couple days apart, and much like the National Civil Rights Museum that all of you visited this fall, the African American History and Culture Museum is both heart-wrenching and celebratory. I observed in both museums the diversity of human energy, presence, perseverance, resilience, and solidarity. Those things needed to move issues of civil rights and human equity forward for African Americans, and we understand that that translates to the work that we need to do for those who are most marginalized in our country. I know this is true for our LGBTQAIP human and intimate rights movements, women's and reproductive justice movements, DACA movements, immigration, mental health, different abilities, and on it goes. My point being, just as war, aggression, self-preservation are human characteristics, so is working to serve the greater good. Oppression is a human condition. So is solidarity. If we are to understand our nation as one founded on freedom, we might be able to problematize many of the experiences that marginalized people in the United States have. During my time at the African American History and Cultural Museum, the exhibit that I struggled and continue to struggle with most was that of the Declaration of Independence in huge letters on a wall, gold, with this eerie lighting above a giant statue of Thomas Jefferson. It read, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." All I can think when I see these words is we have come so far from that ideal. Now, instead of pursuing happiness, people all over this country pursue things like freedom, safety, education, living lives free of the threat of deportation, the pursuit of clean water. Who have we become? So we get to stand here in February 2018 and really think about liberty and justice for all. Your generation, more than any other, is truly faced with deciding and defining for all. Do something with me. Look left, look right, where you chose to sit this evening. Is there diversity there? Are the people around you exactly the same as you? There is rich difference in this room, and what I want you to consider is, are you intentionally being part of that difference? Your generation gets to decide what the country looks like over the next 10 to 25 years. Who gets to live here? Who gets to live well here? Who gets to have enough? These are the same questions that the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was asking when he visited Memphis in 1968. In King's I Have a Dream speech, he states the following: America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity in this nation. Still, in 2018, those funds are not available to everyone in this nation. But I stand here refusing to believe that there is no hope. And I am certain that the human spirit of this country is not bankrupt. I also know that we're going to have to work for it. Work for equitable justice. Work for human conditions that resemble the ideologies that frame the Declaration of Independence. Work for environmental conditions that allow everyone in our country to have food, water, and physical health. When we lose sight of our capacity as a nation to meet the basic needs of the people around us, we must look to the moments in history that speak loudest to the just good we are capable of. I offer the Quakers, who led segments of our nation to compel emancipation, freedom for enslaved African Americans. I offer you the suffragettes, organized to achieve equal rights for women, and wave after wave of feminists have carried on the fight for equal and equitable access. And now people your age stand unified and committed to a national standard that ensures that women are able to live lives free of sexual violence. The United States has been the standards bearer for global justice. While we don't always get it right, we have organized around making our global community a place that all people might have a human experience in their lives. The United States has been known as a place where those persecuted in their own countries have come or hope for a better life. As a solidaritous people, we fought and continue to fight to make sure that everyone has the right to marriage and intimate relationships. We have mounted the stairs of our state capitals to push our elected leaders to allow people to use bathrooms that meet their needs. We push every day to save our planet, preserve our water, create a national standard for health. This should be extended to all communities. The streets of Washington, D.C., New York City, and Memphis have been filled with organized voices of those demanding a socially just reality in these United States of America. What we know in 2018 is that we get to pick the lens through which we view our country, our global community, our membership in various identity groups, our politics, our affinities, our affiliations, and ourselves. I have met very few people in the last 40+ years that were intent or intending to harm others. Most of us want the very best for ourselves, our families, our children, our communities, and the nation, but usually in that order. It takes effort and a particular kind of claiming of our impact and accountability to appreciate that in order for us to have justice, we must fight for that founding idea: justice for all, first. In the words of Hamilton, this is not a moment, it's a movement. And the moment moves, but the movement does not. If we understand the evident truths in the Declaration of Independence around inalienable rights, and we understand so many were not considered during the drafting of our foundational documents, we might be able to think together about the additional steps we must take to contribute to the greater good. Before King and long after the stage lights go out over Hamilton, we, the people, will continue to fight, not only for our own survival, but for those around us. This is one of the greatest characteristics of human beings: community. We are also privileged to have aspirational and inspirational brains, intelligences. While we can and do criticize the historical realities of how the United States came to be and continues to be, one thing is very clear. This nation came out of inspiration and a desire for human equity that still cannot be put down. What inspires you to try? What inspires you to get up in a messy world to keep coming back at it, to keep trying to make your world and that of others simply better, livable, and on occasion, exceptional. This is our work. No human atrocity has been overcome by a single population of people. Those who sacrificed their bodies and lives to see that oppression and hate were pushed back were integral to all of the strides that we have made. No individual, no group, no identity stands alone. Our humanity is intertwined, and our histories have traveled together. It is not possible, no matter how we perform our realities, to pull them apart. So, I ask you once again, look left. Do it. Look left. Look right. You are looking at my community. This is my tribe. These are my people. This is my future. The gift of being in higher education is that each year, my faith in the human capacity to create justice and equity is strengthened because of you. You have forever in front of you, yet you continue to give your time, now at 17 and 18 years old, to make us better. This is our work. I cannot say it enough times. No single person can bring human equity and civil rights into reality. It will take all of us. So my parting thought, something I would like you to spend time thinking about. What I have come to know is that solidarity means that today you might put down your cause and pick up someone else's. But also, I know that solidarity means that I will put down my cause and I will carry yours. Until the time when we truly achieve freedom and justice for all, this is our work. Thank you.